Hi, my name is Jennifer Colgrove. I wrote a memoir in the last 10 years. It is called Foolishly Brave, Unconditionally Blessed, From a Chinese Girl to American Working Mother. We talked about a few stories from this memoir before. Today we'll tell another story. I remember my great-grandmother. She is my biology grandfather's mother. She didn't live in the same house as my grandparents, but somewhere nearby in the village. My great-grandmother was born in 1899 in China and passed away in 1975. Food bending was a traditional common practice when she was young, so her feet was only 3 feet long, 2 inches wide. They were proudly called 3-inch golden lotus flowers in old China. She wore handmade black fabric shoes with a white fabric sole. The front toe of her shoe was so narrow that it looked like a pointed shoe in the modern days you can find, but the whole shoe is only 3 inches long. Great-grandmother wore the normal clothes for Chinese old ladies in the 1970s. She wore a dark blue blouse with twisted fabric buttons on the side and black pants wrapped at the ankle, so the 3-inch golden lotus was proudly visible. She would take small but fast steps to my grandparents' house to chat with my grandma. My grandma's feet were a similar shape to my great-grandmother's, but larger, about 5 inches long, and also a little wider than my great-grandmother's. Grandmother was born in 1919. She started to wrap her feet when she was 6 or 7 years old, as instructed by her parents. She told me that at those times, if a girl didn't wrap her feet small, she wouldn't be able to find a husband when she grew up. In the 1930s, the culture changed and the Chinese began to liberate women's feet. So when my grandmother was about 10 years old, so her parents stopped forcing her to wrap her feet. However, at 10 years old, her toes, the bones already formed into a certain shape, and that shape was with her for the rest of her life, until she passed away in the year 1999 at age 81. So these are the figurines I bought in China because they look like my grandparents in the farmer's village. The old lady is making a fabric sole for a shoe here. One time, my grandma talked about Chinese food bending. She said, the old poem was 3-inch golden lotus perform a lovely walking gesture. Looks like a water lotus waving in the wind. Later, people changed the saying to, people all sit in the bus covered with skirt. Nobody sees your feet. I was about 4 or 5 years old that time and sat beside my grandma and watched her patch some old clothes for my ankles. Her whole life was influenced by the cultural trends of China in her time. Her generation went through the process of feet liberation. However, my grandma could not read or write. My mother was born in 1945, 4 years before the establishment of the People's Republic of China. Starting from her generation, Chinese women would all have natural feet. Now in 2022, sitting in my sunny Texas house and looking at my natural size 8 feet, I thought about all the women in history until now, throughout China and the world. Women have produced every boy and every girl from their womb. Women's lives reflect their time and their society. Thank you for watching. We'll tell more stories tomorrow.